What's up? I guess welcome back to the coop. I don't know. We'll see if that stands. Um, we back in the coop. I did the first one the other day, and then I had something heavy on my heart, and I really don't want to dive into it, but it's something that's been kind of sticking with me, and I can't get away with it. I go away from it. It's a really tough one for me, but I guess we'll see how this plays out. But we're here, man. We're back in the coop. Nice day, beautiful outside. Nice breeze and everything. And flip around, little girls are out. They're playing with their toys and doing their normal scratching and pooping everywhere. So kind of what's been on my heart for a long time now, and I don't know if I need to share this for me or if I need to share this because somebody else needs to hear it. But we're going to try and see if we can do this before my kid comes flying out and realizes that I'm hanging out with the chickens and she's not. It's about feelings. How you feel and how I feel about situations, they'll never match. It'll never match. No matter what the situation is, it could be the exact situation and you won't nail it. You could say things like, I know what you're going through. I feel your pain, but you don't. You really don't. There's nothing there that you can actually say, I know exactly what you're going through. I believe anyway that as humans, we're only able to articulate maybe 40% of what we're feeling. The rest of it is inside. I mean, you get 40% of your feelings out in words, in actions, body language, things like that. The rest of it's just buried down in there, and nobody truly ever really knows what you're going through. So you may go through the loss of somebody, and it may be somebody close to everybody, but everybody's going to deal with it 100% different. And when you say, hey, I know what you're going through, I'm going through it too, I'm here, you really don't. You don't. Every situation for every person is 100% different. You may lose a pet. Everybody loses a pet at some point in their life. That pet to somebody else may have been the world, and you loved your pet, but you're not going to have the same reaction to anything going on in life. So this I'm going to share right now is something that happened to me and Pam. And the difference in actions, reactions, and feelings, even to this day, are completely different. I don't have the right to tell her, I know what you're going through. She doesn't get the right to tell me, I know how you're feeling. It just doesn't line up. We're humans. Like I said, maybe 40% of how I feel about a situation will come out in words, but you'll never truly know what somebody's going through on the inside. All you can really do is be there, listen, give a hug, whatever you can do to kind of put it down. But so, God, this sucks, but long time ago, gosh, maybe 11 years now. I think Dylan was about Sophia's age. I was at a gas station, and the guy came in a suit, and he said, hey, you should go to church. And there I am holding a 24-pack of Busch Ice for the night. And I didn't think nothing of it, so I took his card home. Weeks went by, and, I was beating myself up and everything. And eventually it got to me, and I was like, I'll go to church. So I went to church. Then Pam came to the church, and we got Dylan going to church. And it was a very small church, Calvary Baptist Church on Princeton Road. It was a very small church, perfect for me. Maybe 30, 40 people tops. 30 of them were related. Everybody knew everybody. It was Baptist church, old hymns. And we started going to this church. Everything was cool. This guy that I met at the gas station started becoming a good friend. And I started looking up to him. He was a mentor. He knew the Bible inside and out. Well, over the next year, we meshed as families. We would go there for Sunday dinner. They sat literally in the pew in front of us. Every Sunday during the week, Pam would get with the wife. I'd go out, on mission stuff with the husband. And, we were really just becoming more and more friends, more and more family. And like I said, he was preaching, he was teaching, he was doing all kinds of stuff for the church and traveling. And they were just a good, wholesome family. Looked perfect on the outside. Perfect. I mean, I put these people up on a pedestal, and I was like, I want that. That's what I want. So everything was going pretty good. We ended up getting married at this church. We had Sunday afternoon lunches with these people. Man, my nose just itches every time I start talking. So at some point, everything was just good. And, the drinking was slowing down, the drugs were slowing down, and that was a good thing for me and my family. And then one Sunday we show up for church, and the doors are locked. And I said, well, that's not right. But again, this is like 30, 40 people, and most of them are related. I said, maybe we missed the message that church was closed that day. And we went back that night. Doors were locked. I think it was a week later. We went back. Doors were locked again. And the next morning, Monday, I decided to call the pastor and find out what was going on. And he told me to sit down. And I was like, I don't need to sit down. I'm good. Well, he asked me to sit down again. So I did. And these people that I looked up to, this family that I kind of wanted to be like, it turns out that the guy wasn't who he said he was. The guy was not this perfect person. And the pastor let me know that early in the morning he decided that he was going to go and he was going to take her life in front of her daughter. And I'll spare you a lot of the details, but they're pretty bad, man. Just evil. Just pure damn evil. And I remember dropping the phone, just not believing it, like this can't be real. That's when I had to probably make the worst phone call I've ever made in my life, or one of them anyway. I had to tell my wife that her friend was gone at the hands of, someone that we loved. And that's pretty much where I can tell you our stories matched, our feelings matched. But after that, everything was different. I felt one way, she felt another way. I can tell you one thing: God was dead. That's the day God died for me. God died for my wife. God died for my kid. My kid was old enough to understand what was going on. So we were done with church. We were done with people. So shoot, man. I'm going to let you see the chickens for a second while I keep going. So we went into a, just anger, hurt. I decided that I was going to go into, if there's no reason to, there's no God, there's no reason for really anything. So I started pushing the envelope with the drugs and alcohol, see how much farther I could go. Which one was going to be the one. There was really nothing, everything I had put into that, trying to get to a point where I could be better for my family, was gone. So I would do more drugs, more alcohol, and I'd still wake up in the morning. And I'd push the envelope again the next week. So I went that way with my feelings. My wife went to anger and hatred. I love her so much. She was strong enough to go to court hearings to try and make sure that this guy never got out, to kind of put her 2 cents in on what had happened. And, she just hated people. And it was sad for me. But we kind of went through this together. We kind of understood each other on it. But what I can tell you is I could never in a million years say, I know how you feel. And I could tell her the same thing. You don't know how I feel, because we're human and it's different. So when you lose someone or you lose something or something bad happens, just keep in mind, everybody reacts completely different. Some people shell it up. Some people throw it out. But the one thing I can tell you is you're only getting about 40% of how they feel. So, that sucks. Oh. So years go by. A year goes by. We remember. A year goes by. We remember. And then, I'm still remembering. And I feel like she's still remembering. And I know she still remembers. I know she still loves. And she misses. But I started saying things like, I feel like it hit me harder because here we are, 5, 6 years later, and I still cry. Every December, I still share. I still talk about it. I still, and she doesn't react the same. She makes her posts, love you, miss you. But like I said, I feel the way I feel, and I know she feels the way she feels. And sometimes I can think to myself, hey, how do you not feel? Like, how is this not killing you? This was a change in dynamic for our family. We gave up on everything. And that's not fair. It's not fair for me to do. She does hurt. It does kill her. She just deals with it in a different way that, I don't understand. So the chickens are out, man. So, like I said, years go by. Every year, it's still hard for me. It's still hard for me. This year was just as hard as last year because I attached a lot more to it. I attached the loss of God, the loss of my family, the loss of the will to want to do anything. And she found a way to, use that anger to hate the person that did it, blame the person that did it. I guess I'm only guessing at what she feels because I can't tell what's going on inside her, but I can tell you what's going on inside me. So, I don't know. It was probably 7 years later, and somebody started talking about church, and I was like, that's not going to happen. You can screw off. At that point in my life, church became a money grab and a place for losers to find friends. Just being honest, I didn't see no interest in it, no need for it. I mean, if a demon can sit in the pew in front of you, no. If the devil himself can sit in a pew in front of you in a church, then what? No, you're not safe in any church. You're not. There's like, I don't know. I don't know what I'm trying to say, but I know that if it got that close and that's the way it was going to play out, then there was no need for me to even bother going to church. But somebody picked me. Somebody picked me like these little guys here that pecked me. Somebody pecked and pecked and pecked and pecked and pecked and pecked, and what a pain in the ass she was. She pecked my son. She didn't peck me. She pecked my son. And at that point, I kind of gave in and went back to church. That was the best decision I ever made. The best decision I ever made. But here we go again. Feelings. How I felt. How my wife felt. How my son felt. I went back to church. And I went alone. And then I dragged Sophie. And I went alone. And I know my wife she didn't get it. She didn't understand how I should go back to a place. How I could want to make friends again. How I could want to be part of something that just destroyed a portion, a huge portion of our heart. And I kept going. And then she came. And then Dylan came. And I got saved and baptized by myself with Sophie. And then she got saved and baptized. And then Dylan got saved and baptized. And we were part of a church, man. It was good. Everything was good. I started to serve. And I think that was kind of an odd thing. And I felt like it would be good for my wife to serve. So I started pushing on her. You should serve. And not knowing how she was feeling. It's feelings, man. We push ourselves on people. We tell people they should feel a certain way. They should be upset. They should let it go. They should, it's not a big deal. Maybe it's not a big deal to you, but it's a big deal to somebody else. And so I started pushing for her to serve, and it wasn't good. She started getting close to people. She didn't want to get close to people. She wanted nothing to do with friendship at the church. She wanted to just go to church, come home. And that's what she did for a while. And then she decided to serve. And she started getting close to people. And then people move on, man. People move on. And even though they weren't dying, they were still leaving her again. And I'm heartbroken that I pushed her to do this. They started leaving again, and she was left with that same feeling, I believe. So we're still at church. She's not serving right now, and I understand it, and I get it. So keep in mind that what you feel and what somebody else feels is completely different. 100%. You'll never know what that person's going through. You'll never truly know. You'll only know about 40, I'm going to say it again, about 40% of how they're dealing with it. Um, if you lose somebody and you're closer to this family member than the other family members were closer to him, you're still sad that the family member is gone, but the person that was closer is going to have more pain and more suffering. So to turn around and say, hey, I know what you're going through. You don't know. You don't know if somebody gets in a car accident and you did the same car accident. It's as simple as that. You might get over it quick. Somebody else might not. You don't know. And you don't have the right to tell people, I know how you feel. You don't have the right to tell people to get over it. You don't have the right to tell people anything, really. We have discussed the situation here and there, but again, we always end up on the wrong area. I feel like it starts some stuff when I bring up certain things like she'll never forgive. She'll never stop, hating this guy. And I don't blame her. I can't. But I don't. It breaks my heart and it hurts that, when we do talk about it, I did forgive him. I do pray for him. I hope that whatever he's got going on, he's got a full ministry in jail somewhere, that this whole thing that didn't go to waste. God used whatever this tragedy was for his good. For his good. The bad things that happened in there were no fun, but if something good comes out of it for God, then I'm okay with it. Trying to think of what else I wanted to say, because it's just a lot, and I know I'm going long, but I feel the longer you get to know me, the understanding of I act on nudges, and I act on things that I feel like I should be doing. If something feels like I should do it, I'll do it. Not too long ago, we were in Kentucky, and I felt the need to stay in Kentucky, and we did. And turned out to be one of the best services for my family in a church that we found in a small place called Pee Wee Valley. So for some reason, I'm trying to figure out what it is I want to say. I don't feel like this is completely done at this point, and I apologize if it seems like it's dragging on, but you get to see chickens. Bok chickens. So go to church. Go to church. I think that's what this is about. Go to church. Church has done wonders for me. Again, 3 years clean and sober. Church has given me a family of people that care about me. It's given me a purpose in life. Again, you see, there's all kinds of church hurt. There's all kinds of church hurt. And if you allow that church hurt to keep you from going to church, then you lose. You lost, man. Game over. Devil wins. You lose. And you don't know what God's plans are for you. You see, if I decided to stay down that path I was on instead of going back to church, I'll probably be dead right now. My kids wouldn't have nobody. My wife wouldn't have nobody. Your test is your testimony. This was probably the biggest test that I went through. This has been really hard to open up about, talk about. And I didn't even touch base on half the crap that I thought about touching on. But I think just getting through this right now is a huge step for me. And I hope that me being willing to share something that it still destroys me to this day. You know, they always ask the question, if you could sit on a bench in heaven with one person, who would it be? And a lot of people are like, grandma, grandpa, your normal ones. Hands down, mine would be Rachel. Because I would hope she would be proud of where I'm at, proud of who I became, and proud of the fact that I didn't let the other side win, that I persevered, that I pushed through, that I got through whatever it is that the devil threw at me. You see, I believe this in all my heart. We're all made for a purpose. And the devil tries to keep you from getting to that purpose. And when the devil tries that hard to ruin your purpose, then there's something huge on your life. Huge, man. The harder you hurt, the worse that you go through, the pain, the suffering, the anger, the hurt, all that stuff you go through, it's because God has a huge plan for you, personally, you. And all you got to do is fight to get through the shitty situation that you went through. If you can get through that, I promise you, God's got something for you. They say it all the time, God gives his toughest test to his toughest warriors. Well, I'll tell you right now, me and Pam are one son of a bitches. We are seriously warriors to be able to go through what we went through and walk back through church doors. Just to walk back through church doors was huge. But to be able to create relationships, to be able to get saved, baptized, and do it, I believe that God's got something huge for our family. Maybe this is it. Maybe me talking. Maybe this is all that it is. Maybe somebody else is hearing this right now and they're like, you know what? I went through some crap and I went through some stuff that just killed me and I'm still standing. And you don't know why you went through it. None of it makes sense. The greatest thing that you love was ripped from you. And it makes zero sense. Just keep pushing through it. Get yourself to church. Keep praying. Get on your knees. Listen, I call BS that, I say 90% of people believe in God because every time you have a problem, you drop to your knees. You drop to your knees and you pray. Once it's over, you get up and you walk away. Quit walking away from God. Quit playing the game that he's there when you need him, because that's not what going to church is about. Whew. So every December, man, every December you're going to see it. You're going to see stories about Rachel. I share the same 2 songs. You'll hear me singing them. Can't Even Walk Without Holding Your Hand, and The Old Rugged Cross. Oh, The Old Rugged Cross. This is a crazy story right here. I told you something wasn't done yet in me. This is really long, but kick out whenever you want, I guess. I really don't care. So I was fighting to try and figure out if, I should be going back to church or not. And I was going into churches and I was cussing at preachers. And I was like, oh, cheeky cheeky. I remember Joel Baptist Church right around the corner. I walked in and I said, if that MFer wants me, then he can come get me. Meanwhile, I was missing all the signs, door knockers coming by. I actually went into church looking for God and missed that sign. But I told you a story about, our friend and how it's just affected me tremendously. There's one song that just kind of I tie to her, and it's the Old Rugged Cross. I still remember to this day, beautiful voice right in front of me in the pew. And yeah, that was like her song that I just fell in love with. Well, randomly out of nowhere, two dudes show up in my house and they want to go, hey, we're doing a Bible study on Wednesday nights. I said I was looking for a Bible study. I want to learn more. So I decided I'm going to go to this Bible study and walk in, and it's the same church, just like the one we had an issue with that closed down. So I was a little on edge already. I could feel God just tugging at me. We sang a few songs, and then they started doing their Bible study thing. Blah, 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 blah. I don't remember what it was. It was crazy. It's just, I lost it right about here. So I looked out at the hymn book, and, I was praying. Am I supposed to be going to church? Am I on the right path? Is this thing real? Tell me something. Tell me anything. I really don't care what it is. And the hymn was next to me, man. This little hymn book was next to me, and I looked at it, and it was the same hymn book we used at Calvary Baptist. And I said, I wonder. And I grabbed the book. Man, this shit. Oh, I grabbed the book and I opened it up, and I didn't have to sift through pages. I didn't have to do anything, but I opened up the book and it just said, The Old Rugged Cross. And I felt like Rachel was there, letting me know that this whole thing is real. God's real. Get your act together. Quit fooling around. Knock down that Jericho wall. Get on board with this and get involved in the church. And I did that. I did do that. And I'm still doing that. I wake up every Sunday. I get there at 6:30 and I don't leave till 2. First one there, last one out. God did so much for my life that's the least I could do. I enjoy serving. I love it. Like, there's nothing better than a Sunday morning. Sunday morning is just the greatest day of the week. So I went off on a little tangent, but let's go back, I guess. Let's go back. Feelings. Just keep in mind, man, what you feel and what somebody else feels is going to be completely different. So let's try and get away from the I know how you feels. And, I can only imagine what you're going through. Sometimes it's best to just sit, listen. Never, ever dismiss somebody's feelings about anything. I apologize to my wife right now. I do it all the time. It's human nature. I'll get over it. Oh, that's not a big deal. Why aren't you feeling the same thing I'm feeling? We're human. We're all different, 100%. So quit saying I know what you went through and I feel it. I'll be back on probably with more on this right now. I need time to think about it and settle it. But love you guys. Say goodbye to the chickens. Bye, girls. And one last time, go to church. Go to church. What's the worst that can happen? You meet a couple people, you have a good time. Maybe God touches your heart. Something changes. All right. I think I figured out how to turn these things off. But just in case, I'm going to flip you around. Bye, chickens. Love y'all. Talk to you later.